The Corporation for National Community Service is a federal entity responsible for mobilizing organizations involved in post-disaster restoration, such as Hurricane Sandy. In the first year, 3,800 members of Americorps were deployed in the areas affected by Sandy. They provided assistance to hundreds of thousands of impacted residents.
My name is Jameer Pratt. I'm originally from Durham, North Carolina, but before that I spent about 3 years in Michigan. We are right now in Seaside Park helping out a homeowner whose names are Grace and Rocky. They were damaged by Superstorm Sandy. Some people call it Hurricane Sandy. And we're just helping them with drywall and spackling and whatnot. It's a 10-month long program. You eat, you sleep, you breathe with the same people all day, every day. The reason why I joined this program is because I have my master's degree, and I had help basically getting to where I am now. And sometimes basically during that time, all I realized is that sometimes all it takes is one person who is not just helping you with their hands or with their mind, but helping you with their whole being. And I just wanted to give back. And so anytime I can have an opportunity to help someone out with my whole being, with not just my hands or my feet, but also with, my heart, whether it's just listening to them wholeheartedly or with my ears listening as well, or basically just helping people out one person at a time. What do I get out of volunteering? It's this indescribable tingly feeling. That's what I get out of it. It's like seeing people smile at the end of the day, or just hearing how grateful they are. It's just a tingly feeling that just melts my heart, I guess.
My name is Cecilia Velos. I am from Goodyear, Arizona. Right now, I'm here at Susan's house helping to rebuild. We've done some spackling, some painting, and some more drywall installation all over the house. So we're getting things nice and ready for her to move in, hopefully within the next month or so.
My name is Anthony Requena, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I am part of Americorps, which is a team-based national community service program. We're here in Toms River, New Jersey, cleaning up the shore, and we are at Susan's house helping her to rebuild her home.
Here in Toms River and in Seaside and Maniloking and Bayhead, there's so much that still needs to be done, and it's been months since Sandy first hit. So it's really crazy because it's like once you stop seeing things in the news, you don't think it's a problem anymore. You don't see it as something that you need to focus on or somewhere you need to go help. You just focus on all these other things in life, and every day these people are still living other places. They're not in their homes. They're still trying to scrounge up whatever they can, whether it's money or supplies or help, just to get these things done in their house just so they can move back in. So knowing how important it is to have that help and to just give back in some way, I feel is so much more rewarding than anything else you could possibly do in this life, because it's not just like you're not doing something that's going to last a little while. You're building people's houses. You're giving them their life back. So.
I will continue to volunteer, not with Americorps because my plans are to go back to college and finish up my degree in environmental science, but I do plan on volunteering with other nonprofits within the Los Angeles area.
I'm getting a lot out of this. I'm learning to do things I never thought that I would. I mean, I'm developing so many skills. I've been building houses and learning how to do everything from just flooring to spackling, painting perfectly. So now I could build my own house. But I'm getting to learn about everything that I would possibly want to do in the future for a career and everything I absolutely wouldn't want to do.
I wanted to take a year off of school, and I wanted to travel the country, see places that I've never been. I wanted to help others, and I wanted to try new experiences and explore new avenues, figure out exactly what it was I wanted to do.
Everybody should volunteer in some way, shape, or form, whether it's for disaster relief or just in the local community at a food bank.
My favorite part about volunteering and helping to clean up Hurricane Sandy is giving back to other people, practicing selflessness and putting other people's needs ahead of my own. And I take great personal fulfillment from it.
This is my second week working at this house. It originally didn't have any drywall, and it had to be gutted entirely. And so we've basically been working on adding walls and doing all the major construction that the homeowners require. Spent my whole life in Maine and decided it was time to go explore some other state or live in some other state for a while, and Americorps was the perfect route for that. In Americorps and CCC, it's a very hard program, but I get a lot out of it. I get a lot of skills. I meet a lot of really great people, like the homeowners of this house. It's just all around, you get to travel, you get money for college. It's just, there's so many benefits to becoming an NCCC member. There's definitely a shortage of volunteers. There's still so much work that needs to be done, primarily in areas like Maniloking and Ortley Beach, where the devastation hit really hard. Anything, Bayside was hit really hard, and any number of volunteers would be greatly appreciated at this point. It could still take months if there aren't any more volunteers or just the regulars that are frequently seen throughout Jersey Cares.
Hello, I'm Carrie Keenan. I'm joined in the studio by Mark Shriver, who recently completed a book about his dad, Sargent Shriver. Mark, how does it feel being the son of two parents who have been so instrumental in the volunteerism movement?
Well, they were great parents. The name of the book is A Good Man. It's because my dad was a good guy. He treated everybody the same, as did my mom. And they were so committed to the causes that they cared passionately about. Volunteerism, getting people out involved, whether it was in Special Olympics or the Peace Corps, or here domestically in Head Start, Legal Services for the Poor, Job Corps. They created these entities because I think they really cared about making the world a little bit better place than what they found it. So it was great. I mean, I didn't know any different, obviously, but they were terrific parents, really right there in our lives, not just doing these wonderful national and international programs, but really caring about us as their children.
And so they brought their attitude of volunteering back into the family. And
my mom and dad, the Special Olympics camp started right here in Rockville, Maryland, right off of Rockville Pike. And my mom ran camps for people with developmental differences until she died. So our kids, my wife Jeannie and I have 3 children. My nieces and nephews all participated in that camp. In Potomac, when my mother was much older, they participated in Best Buddies, in Special Olympics now, and volunteerism on a bunch of different levels. So yes, it was very much a part of our life, no question about it. And it, there's an old cliche that you get more than you give, and that's really true. You learn so much from volunteerism. You learn so much from getting involved, getting your hands dirty, going down with an organization like Save the Children where I work, down into Louisiana, Mississippi after Katrina, or internationally in the Philippines where we're working now. You learn so much more, but you got to get up and go. You got to do it.
The Peace Corps was born through a speech to students at the University of Michigan by then-candidate John Kennedy. It was brought to life by your dad.
Yes.
Can you tell us about one of his favorite Peace Corps stories?
Wow, one of his favorite Peace Corps stories. I guess my most favorite story from him is just the way he reacted whenever he met a Peace Corps volunteer. I was born in 1964, so the Peace Corps had been up and running for 2 or 3 years at that point. And I don't remember him running the Peace Corps because he left in '66 when he ran President Johnson's War on Poverty, when he created that. But I know in his interaction with Peace Corps volunteers, whether it was in an airport or in a hotel or walking down the streets of Washington, D.C., if you met a Peace Corps volunteer, he'd get a little extra energy. Where did you serve? What did we do well? What could we do better? As he said, and as I wrote about in the book, that's where real peace happens, when you can touch it and you can feel the commitment from people, when you can see them helping you out, whether it was a medical issue or an education issue, and you're living in their community. That's what real peace happens.
What impressed you most about your dad's mission of service?
Well, the thing that impressed me the most about Dad was, he's a real human being. He was a good father, a really good father, and did all of these wonderful things around the world, but he was in the moment. So if you were talking to him at a cocktail party, he didn't look over your shoulder. He didn't care about anybody else in the room but the person in front of him. And that's really hard to do, especially in a town like Washington. And you see that commitment to the individual, to the moment, in his call for the Peace Corps and the creation of the Peace Corps and his movement to encourage people to volunteer.
The 50th anniversary of the Peace Corps was recently observed, and the 50th anniversary of the assassination of JFK also occurs this year. What differences to the social service and volunteer agenda of JFK would be different, do you think, if those events hadn't transpired?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I know that, you know, my father, President Kennedy, reached across the aisle to try to get things done for this country, and I think Republicans and Democrats, you know, they'd fight it out in elections, but once the election was over, I think there was much more of a sense of, okay, what can we compromise on to help move the country forward? And today I feel that in politics, there's much more of a sense of, I've got to destroy you, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, and there's much more emphasis on what separates us, Democrat, Republican, gay, straight, you know, Catholic, Jew, you know, North, South. Our political leaders seem to want to divide us in order to get to 50+1. And I think in those days, the folks cared more about how to move the country forward. President Nixon, President Kennedy served together in Congress. They obviously ran against each other. But my father was so proud of the work that he did with, you know, Mrs. Reagan, who was an honorary chair of foster grandparents. Senator Hatch's work with Special Olympics. Governor Romney's dad, Governor Romney of Michigan, was the honorary chair of Job Corps. So he reached across the aisle. He didn't care whether you were a Catholic or a Protestant, or whether you were Jewish or a Republican, whether you were from the North or the South. I think there was this sense that there were things we could do together as a country if we looked at what we had in common and tried to move forward. I think that's really important. You learn that by volunteering. I don't care whether you're black or white, a guy or a gal, or whether you're Jewish or Catholic or a Republican or Democrat. You know, you got to pick up and clean out this child care center in New Jersey where Save the Children's been working. You got to help get them back on their feet. And if you work together, a lot of those misunderstandings get knocked and pushed away.
Right, very good points, especially focusing on similarities, not differences.
Yeah, we spend so much time focusing on what separates us as compared to what we share, which is we're all trying to make a connection about living something more important than, you know, just my own job and my own little world. You know, everybody wants to make, I think, a connection with God, make a connection with their neighbors, to do something more important than just yourself. Make a connection with the Spirit.
Right.
I think that's what he understood really well.
And he seems to, as I was reading the book and the little vignettes that you had in there with his interactions with people, that really seemed to come through.
Yeah, he treated, you know, he was eulogized by President Clinton and Vice President Biden. You know, Stevie Wonder and Bono sang at his funeral. But the people that really and that's impressive, but the people that really touched my soul were the two waitresses from his favorite restaurant who told me at his wake he was a good man. They waited, you know, 45 minutes to say it. The guy who picks up trash in our neighborhood got out of his trash truck 2 days after Dad died and walked up the driveway and said, "Your father was a good man." You know, to treat people that are presidents the same as you treat the waitress or the guy at the airline counter. There's another guy who said that he was a good man. That's pretty tough. Yeah. And it's pretty amazing, and it's good. It's a good example for all of us.
Well, thank you so much for being in the studio with us
me.
today, Mark. We really appreciated you coming in and sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. This is Carrie Keenan with Travel Television. How can we avoid the dreaded lost luggage that's every traveler's nightmare? Well, it can never be 100% avoided, but with Luggage Forward, you can make your luggage more secure. Luggage Forward allows you to book your luggage shipment online using any web-enabled device, including your tablet or smartphone. You can pack your luggage as you normally would for airline travel. You tell the company where and when you want your luggage picked up, and they arrange to have your luggage picked up from your home, office, hotel, cruise ship, golf course, and more. There are luggage pickup options to fit your schedule. Check us out on luggageforward.com. Earth Day, which occurs annually in April, is a great time for companies to step forward and contribute to their community. Not only am I Travel Television's host, I am also an ICF volunteer coordinator, and I will tell you about the company's work with Maplewood Springs Community Center Art Farm. Hi, this is Carrie Keenan. When I'm not in the Travel Television studio, I'm out here volunteering. Today, I am at Croydon Creek Nature Center in Rockville, Maryland, and we are doing an invasive plant species pull. So we are picking all the plant species that are not native to this region. Today we're celebrating Earth Day, which is in April, and it's important to volunteer, to get out into the community and to really make a difference. This is for Earth Day. I've got a group of my coworkers and friends out here helping me out, and we're hoping that every one of you can volunteer. We hope you're making a difference in your community as well. With current statistics at 4,000 dead and over 18,000 injured from Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, the islands of Leyte and Samar suffered tremendous damage. Tacloban has been described as the center of the storm with severe damage. It's been defined as the strongest in recorded history. Travel Television is speaking with Consul Elmer Cato of the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. The consul will talk about what volunteers can do to assist with the immediate needs of typhoon victims. The high priority of providing food means there are very few places that can support volunteers coming to your country. While they wait, what can volunteers who want to help do?
Hey, good evening, Carrie, and thank you for having me in your program tonight. Before I answer that question, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the government of the United States of America and the American people for the assistance that they have extended to my country and my people in the wake of the devastation wrought by Typhoon Haiyan in the central Philippines. As you've said earlier, we had about 4,000 deaths so far. And the storm, which has been described as the most powerful to hit the planet in recent memory, displaced almost 1 million people. It has affected about 10 million people in 44 provinces of the Philippines and more than 600 municipalities and cities. Right now, relief efforts are ongoing. With the assistance of the United States and a number of countries, we have been able to reach out to the devastated areas. We have a lot of volunteers in the ground. We have some of them from the United States who have been working with various organizations in the Philippines. And in fact, one of the first volunteer organizations that made it on the ground came from California, and the Philippine Embassy facilitated the entry there of volunteer doctors and surgeons, as well as search and rescue specialists. They were assigned to the town of Tanawan, which is south of Tacloban City, and they have concluded their mission, and they reported to us that they performed over 150 surgeries, mostly amputations and some cesarean operations. And the other team was able to help Philippine authorities clear some areas that were blocked by debris, and also help in some reconstruction and medical work. This morning we received instructions from Manila on how to handle volunteer missions. We've actually received a lot of offers of assistance from volunteer organizations since the typhoon struck 2 weeks ago. Right now, we have more than enough medical volunteers on the ground. We have more than enough search and rescue specialists also. So what we need right now are volunteers with certain specializations. So we are looking at organizations that could send volunteers with advanced medical capabilities who could support hospital units with operating rooms and hospital beds. We no longer have need for search and rescue people, but those with specializations in water, sanitation, and hygiene, in debris clearing and others, those are what we need right now. For those in the United States who want to volunteer, what we would suggest right now is to probably help in organizing relief efforts for the long term. Because once we address the immediate needs of the victims in terms of food and shelter, we would have to go and enter the phase of rebuilding and reconstruction. That's where some of our American friends could come in, and we would suggest that they partner with private organizations who already have a presence in the Philippines or have partnered with organizations in the Philippines. Like the Catholic Church, for instance, has a big presence in the Philippines, where we are a predominantly Catholic country. So the church here in the U.S. has been helpful, and we've been working with the Catholic Relief Services, so they could work with that organization and help.
What are some of the other organizations that you can think of, or if there was an organization in the U.S., how might they get in contact with an organization in the Philippines to partner with them?
There's no single organization that we could pinpoint, but there are a number of organizations here that are involved in the relief efforts. They've been involved in raising funds to support the Philippine Red Cross and other organizations that are there on the ground. They've been providing cash assistance to allow them to purchase the relief goods there in the Philippines, because based on a study done by, I think, the USAID, it would be better if cash donations are collected instead of sending relief goods, because in the long run it's going to be more expensive to ship those items from here to the Philippines. Like we have one organization that's donating 6 million bottles of water. So it's going to be difficult to transfer. Imagine how much it's going to cost us to bring the water there, when we have some organizations bringing in water filtration systems that could produce water from salt water. So I think in the future, what we could see are volunteers working with organizations such as Habitat for Humanity, where they'll help rebuild the villages. We have one organization in the Philippines called Gawad Kalinga, which is involved in such activities. So they could partner with those organizations in the future. Volunteers could also work with schools. They could help rebuild those schools, help in reconstructing damaged school buildings. So those are what we see happening in the long run.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Our thoughts and prayers are with your country and your people, and we hope that everyone who sees this will consider volunteering their efforts to raise money or to connect with a group in the Philippines so we can continue bringing you more aid.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Consul Elmer Cato. This is Carrie Keenan with Travel Television.
Our travels have brought us to Saigon, or as it's known today, Ho Chi Minh City. Our jumping off point here is Notre Dame, and literally right behind my cameraman is the post office. And you'll notice the French influence in the architecture here, that colonial influence. And what we've decided to do is hire one of these gentlemen and cruise around for about $3 for the next hour. I think it's a pretty good deal and a pretty exciting way to see Saigon. What stands out the most about Ho Chi Minh City? In a word, chaos. Millions and millions of people and millions of scooters. As we were weaving slowly through the traffic, dominated mostly by scooters, I couldn't help but think, would I be safer on the back of one of these scooters or as a pedestrian trying to cross these crazy streets? I'll leave that to you to decide. I think we're coming into the market right here. This is what they call the Saigon market. I think we're going to jump out and check out some of the stalls. It's a crowded, open-air affair where negotiation is key. next time you may find yourself in Ho Chi Minh City, try a tri-shawl and see it from a street-level perspective.
We would be very grateful as you continue to pray for us. That would be the strongest statement that all of us can make in the connection. We have prayed for other churches, other areas. We remember, for example, Katrina. We prayed for the U.S. when that happened. And we have also been blessed because in the past, every time we have super typhoons like this, United Methodists all over the world prayed for us. United Methodists continued to uphold us in prayers. And for me, that meant a lot. Of course, we also want to express our gratitude for those who started to raise funds, have special offerings in order to help our country, especially those in badly hit areas, so that we can have meaningful relief and rehabilitation efforts.
One of the strengths of the Filipinos is their resiliency and their courage to move on in the midst of these many trials in life. Filipinos are religious people. I would like to say with us United Methodists, we are spiritual. And during these times, we take time to pray and to thank God and also to reflect on what's happening. And this gives us a lot of strength from within. I believe that with help from the United Methodist Church worldwide, from countries that support the Philippines, we'll be able to rise above this and we will be able to move on. Because we are a global church, when one part of the world suffers, the other members of the connection would help. Because of our connectionalism, there's so much help. And thank you so much. Yes.
Building an oyster reef seems like an odd task on an Air Force base. It's a common event for volunteers on McDill who teamed up with a local environmental group. The volunteers helped build an oyster reef that will strengthen the shoreline around the base.
This project would not happen if it weren't for the volunteers. We're so appreciative of the military folks.
Their hard work is important to the environment. Oyster reefs have other benefits besides fighting erosion.
Oysters also do a lot of other things. They're a biological filter, so they can filter between 2 to 10 gallons of water an hour.
Volunteers help build a stronger shoreline and grow new ecosystems that will help the bay thrive for many years to come.